Pulisic dentro, Rafa. Gol! Ebram! Gol! È l'azione più bella del mondo! È l'azione più bella!
Hello, I'm your host, Ollie Fisher. Welcome to the SempreMilan podcast. That's awful. That is awful. And I'm joined by...
Yeah, you're joined by AJ. No. Hey guys. We're taking over the podcast this week. We are taking over the podcast this week. As Lorenzo's just said, welcome to the SempreMilan podcast with the B team's finest.
The B team. Well, actually, I don't know now. I think we're like Milan's depth. We're coming in and we're getting starting minutes, baby. We're getting starting minutes. We're here.
A minus, maybe. Yeah.
My God, have we got a lot to talk about this week?
Yeah. There actually are three of us. So I know Maddie doesn't really contribute much or talk much or look at the screen. So there is actually a third person who could do the exact same job as Maddie.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. And actually, his opinion.
And he's yawning as well. So fair play. So Maddie
also actually watches the games, doesn't he? Your dog.
Yeah. To be fair, yes, she does.
Yeah,
whilst I berate the team. Yeah. He probably knows which players I hate mostly. He might bark and say Musa. So anyway, let's crack on because we've got a lot to talk about today.
We just came back from recording the pub chat, which we didn't talk about the Cremonese game. So we're going to jump straight into the Cremonese review, game week 1. Wow. I mean, were you expecting this? Like, come on. No one thought we were going to lose this match. This is the first time in Cremonese's history that they've beaten us at the San Siro in their history. And it's the first time in their history that they've won the opening game of the Serie A season. So it's a double whammy of bad results or bad records being broken. What did you think of this game, Steph? Like, really, what did you think of this match?
I thought we started all right. We started sharp. There were some decent, ball progressions, mostly coming through Modric and Salamakers, which is a running theme on who the best players were out of the game. And as the half went on, the first half, we weren't creating much to break down. Jimenez obviously had an offside goal disallowed, rightfully so. He was offside. And a couple of little bits of possession and a few kind of half chances here and there, but it was nothing much being created against a low block side in Cremonese, who were doing a very good job in that aspect. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, it's another game where two chances were taken by the away side who defended for most of it, and obviously we'll talk about the second goal that they scored, which was fantastic. And being like, oh, that's just one of them things that happens when you're not taking your chances. You're not breaking down the lines. No, I'm kind of over that right now. This is for me. Yeah, what was on the pitch was on the pitch, but it's more of what's wrapped around that and how we approach that game from a coaching perspective. Because I think Allegri is somewhere to blame on the Fofana and the Ruben Loftus-Cheek piece, because it comes back down to what he said, on the presser pre-match. He expects 15 goals from those players. So he felt like he had to double down, and he thought maybe he could stat pad with playing them both and thinking that Cremonese was an easy game. So I think
that's definitely true. You put it in attacking midfield out.
Why is Ricci playing all these minutes pre-season and Modric is now starting? I'm fine for Modric starting because you have to start the first home game of the season with the legend playing. Fine, but then him, Ricci, and then one of Loftus-Cheek and Fofana, obviously ideally Loftus-Cheek, because he doesn't send the fucking ball into Rosie. There's that from a tactical perspective, and then I think the wider piece is this how we've approached the game from a squad building perspective, and we obviously just done a video on incomings, particularly in the striker position and the centre back position, where ghosts and just liabilities.
I'd like to highlight the stats. Now, I'm not massive one for stats. It's they don't mean a whole lot really, especially in games like this where we're playing a low block team. We know we struggle against them. A lot of top teams too. Not that I should be calling Milan a top team these days, but the stats don't mean a lot. They matter in more competitive games. But I'm going to reel them out to you, Steph, because I really want to get your thoughts. This is a match where every single stat, in terms of it being a positive weighting, has been on our side. So shots, 24 to Cremonese's 4. Only 6 of those 24 were on target. Cremonese had 3. Possession, it's 64%. Cremonese obviously 36. Passes over double Cremonese, so 600 to their 300, just over 300. Pass accuracy 90. We had less fouls, less yellow cards, and more corners. And we lose this game 2-1. That for me highlights that the exact same issues of scoring goals. We'll touch on the defense in a moment. How are these still persisting? Now, okay, we can talk about the fact that we have Pulisic up front. We've got Jimenez, which we've spoken about, and we're going to talk about in a bit more detail, our striker issue. But isn't this kind of what we thought Allegri would be bringing, the sort of solution to low block teams? What are your thoughts when I reel out those stats? Because every single one is beneficial to us. It's on our side.
Yeah, I think we assumed that this would be brought in. I don't think this is where I think there's only so much I can blame Allegri for if he's only got Santiago Jimenez and Pulisic as options up front, and he's got no other options off the bench. There's only so much I can throw on his pad. I do think, though, not enough was done from a sharpness perspective in the forward lines. I don't know what was being communicated to Pulisic and what his role was with Santi up front, because this is the thing, like Jimenez wasn't good at all. Like, I think, he was getting bullied out the game by
Mascherotto completely killed him all match.
He made him like the fucking second coming of Baresi. And don't get me wrong, good player, but like to be bullied all game and obviously in the run up to the second goal as well was just embarrassing. The first touch wasn't there. He even had the chance to equalize late into the game with the header, missed that. Jimenez had a shit show, don't get me wrong. But he was not helped at all by the fact that Pulisic was not even on the same fucking planet as him where he was playing. And maybe that wasn't equally helped by the fact that there was no creators in midfield. When you have midfielders like Loftus-Cheek and Fofana who can't, bring the ball forward or distribute with confidence, Pulisic is dropping off. And then there's this massive gaping hole, which only has Jimenez and about 5 centre-backs around him. How are we going to look to create in that regard? Now, back to your question, did I feel like bringing Allegri in would have solved this issue? Yes and no. I wasn't particularly convinced because Allegri is more pragmatic. He's not known for attacking sort of ways of playing. What I was expecting was a clean fucking sheet. And that's the bare minimum. To leak 2 goals, the second goal, fantastic or not, but the nature of it, this is not what I was expecting. We should have come away with this game with a win. We should have come away with this game with a clean sheet. And I mean,
it's our easiest game on paper. Let's not whatever that means now, but it was.
I mean, we'll kind of break down the goals now, but the first goal that they score, and there's a bit of build up to it. I think Pavlovic fucks up the clearance and basically goes out for a corner instead of what could have been an easy just clear it down the other end under the pitch, or even a throw in at worst. So it goes to a corner. So there's this just calamitous defending even in the run up to this play. Cross comes in, the ball gets obviously played out. Modric is trying to keep up with the player. Obviously, his legs aren't fully there. The cross comes in, and obviously it's Pavlovic's marker, the centre back that you just mentioned. I can never get his name right.
Federico Mascherotto, yeah. 2 Federicos, yeah.
With a fine header to score that. And look, there are lapses across that whole moment and that build up there, but there aren't massive ones. And perhaps I'm maybe getting used to how poor we are defensively, but just the nature of clearing the ball from a corner and then being just structured there in itself is what I'm expecting with Allegri's team. And we were just poorly prepared.
No, so I feel really let down from Pavlovic in particular. Yes, he scored our goal, and we'll go on to our tops and flops obviously at the end of the review. But you like to think that Allegri, being the experienced coach he is, being a defence-minded coach first, building from the back first, I'd like to have thought that he would have really focused on Pavlovic, who has concentration issues. All of our centre-backs do, especially Timur and Pavlovic. I mean, there was a couple of instances where Pavlovic had the ball and what the fuck is he doing in possession? pass back to the goalkeeper. Nope. He thinks, I'm going to try and loop it over to Estepinian. No. And then loses possession and they have a shot on target and almost score. Again, we've got Gabbia, Tamura. Okay, they're not the biggest guys. And Bashkirotto is famously, his Superman celebration. He's incredibly strong. He's a hard guy. That's fine. That's his thing. I understand that. Pavlovic can't be getting bullied by him.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
He's a 6'4" centre back. What are you doing?
I'm not expecting Allegri to come in and teach this guy how to pass. I don't think anyone can do that.
No, that's the thing.
But turn him into where I don't expect this guy to get beaten is in the air.
No, at all.
If this guy is so, and he's got a lot about him. He's, and obviously he scores a header from the fucking equaliser, which we'll come on to. But if he's got so much about him from Grinta perspective and stuff turn him into a machine in defense.
Yeah.
Try to turn him into a bit of a Bremer when it comes to kind of getting that ball out of there. Just
using his strength, using his body. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a fucking beast. And it's just such a poor way to obviously concede the first goal. Now the equaliser, we'll come on to that. I thought Salamakers did a great job of just sort of hustling. I didn't think there was a foul there, nowhere near a foul on the I think it was the midfielder or the right wing back, and winning back possession. And he sort of
Zerbin. I think it was Zerbin.
Yeah, and then he was just like, no, we're playing on, crack on. And he tells Estepinian, he goes, make that fucking run, make that overlap run. And a quick, nice slip through ball to him. And Estepinian with a great cross. He doesn't go for the near post. He goes for it, loops it over. Keeper's out of it there at that point.
Yep.
And Pavlovic comes in with a nice solid header. I think that was a well-worked goal in a sense of Grinta from Salamakers to win the ball back there. And it was just, just the basics there. And two players who were being called out for having a horrendous half, Estepinian and Pavlovic, obviously linked up to get the goal.
Yep.
What did you think of that? Because I know me and you have a slightly difference of opinion on Estepinian's half.
I think Estepinian was poor in terms of overall play. But my thing about Estepinian is that I think he's going to be the best crosser that we have in the team. That's what he was good at the Premier League.
Yep.
He did it, obviously. He did it in the game. I think with Estepinian, it's more of he just needs to get adjusted to playing Serie A football. I don't actually have any doubts about his quality for me personally. Now, I've got no problems with being hoiked at half time because it was bad. I wish also Pavlovic went. I think that whole left-hand side of our team was poor. Jimenez, all of it was poor. The whole left side of it should have gone, to be honest with you. But yeah, I thought Estepinian's performance was okay. Bar from the cross, not good, but that cross was really, really fantastic. It was pointed out straight to Pavlovic, and it was a great header. I think what it is systemic that of our issues as a team, that we cannot create good chances from open play. Because if I look at the actual chance, it was like you said, hustle from Salamakers who runs over Zerbin. Okay, it was a fair challenge. He wins the ball. And then it was the quick thinking of Estepinian to make the overlap and run. Salamakers to send him there. And then a really, really nice, again, pinpoint accurate cross, because that cross needed to be accurate. And that was it. But it wasn't confident passages of play from the defense into the midfield where we're doing triangles. We're occupying the space intelligently. It wasn't that. It wasn't that. And that's why I wanted to highlight the stats at the start of the pod, because I think it's really important that we had the quote unquote domination of the game. Yeah. Again, we're at home against a low block team in Cremonese. I expect us to have the lion's share of all the statistics, but to have it that level and not be able to concretely, other than the goal, create any good open play chances, because I do not consider that as a proper open play chance. I think it was a smash and grab goal. Yeah. Well taken, but a smash and grab goal. That's pathetic. It's simply pathetic. I really don't know what else to say. And I know it's only one game. We can't really be blaming Allegri too much. But I really was hoping he would instill, at least in the likes of Pavlovic with his poor passing from the back. Again, Estepinian, but I take Estepinian more on adjusting to the league a little bit more. Pavlovic has been here a year. I'm a bit worried. I really am worried. Does that go down to what we were talking about in our pub chat? Does it go down to the quality of the actual individual players that we have? Is Pavlovic just not good on the ball, full stop?
Yeah. I think also the formation in a sense has highlighted an issue of a few things. So obviously we just mentioned about the centre backs there. If Pavlovic doesn't make that run into the box, who's getting that header for that goal?
Yeah,
No one.
100%.
There wouldn't have been anyone.
Nope.
So the issue I had there is another bit of an issue. Can I mention about Pulisic? He's not a forward you can put and deploy in a 3-5-2.
5'5" or whatever. Oh,
and whether and that's the issue. Whether you like that about Leao or not, and Leao's got 2 headed goals this pre-season. He's clearly being asked to be more present in the box. So when we were chasing the game, whether it was 1-1 or 2-1 or equally 1-0, crosses start to obviously inflate and go into the box. There's only Santiago Jimenez there as an option. And we could throw Chukwueze on, we could throw these kind of more agile players on. But if you haven't got presence in the box, and there has to be 2 forwards who are able to do that, forwards being the key point, and that's why we're after at least 1 more centre forward. I really question the future of Pulisic in this formation. I don't understand where it could be. My only thought, it could be perhaps a more advance of the centre midfielders, because he played slightly there in that position last year, because just out of necessity. I do not see a scenario of us converting to a 4-3-3. And even if we did, I actually think Allegri likes Salamakers too much to keep him there at the right from a balance perspective. I'm actually quite worried about Pulisic's future, because he just doesn't have the mold to play in that front 2 formation. Unless we're counter attacking, and it might be a good, as we've seen pre-season, he's got a couple goals in that regard where there's space. But when there's deeper blocks, and Italian football is typically known for that, I don't see it.
But Steph, this is my question as well. This is what I don't understand. I agree with you. If we're going to stick with the 5 at the back, the 3 at the back, 3-5-2, 3-4-3, whatever, however you want to describe it, then yes, I agree. I'm worried about Pulisic's future. I don't know where he fits in long term. But my question is, why are we playing these formations to start off with? I understand that it was a hangover from the Fonseca Conceição. But are you telling me really, again, we spoke about the Malik Chow situation, the centre-back issues that we have. Surely the players that we have are suited to a 4-3-3 as well. Surely, and we can have a dedicated right winger. Do you not think? I'd really like to know, because in my opinion,
I don't know. I think the way it's unfolded, we've invested in the centre mids, and this is the thing: if you're going to invest in the centre mids, don't fucking play for Fofana and Loftus-Cheek as starters. Play 2 at least of Jashari, Richie, and Modric. Like we fucking spent the most amount of money of our summer budget on those positions. I do not want to see 2 of those positions being taken up by those 2 players. It's just that's inexcusable. And if Allegri does that again, fucking hell, man, he's gets his head checked out. My issue with going to a natural 4-3-3 is, and it's this enigma element of the Leao position. I just don't see it working, because from a work rate perspective, Pulisic is wasted on the right, because he has to go up and down that flank to cover defensively, because we have traditionally created an imbalance because of the left side and Leao. And I'm not trying to get him to create that. I really want us to get the best out of Leao in his best position and get him more closer to the goal and get more goals. And we're seeing that pre-season from him. And if it means that Pulisic suffers from it, then so fucking be it. But but I want it to be so we're more compact as a unit, and we get the best out of our best player, which is Rafael Leao. So he doesn't have to do so much defensively and help out. Get him close to the goal, get his goals up, get him working close to the centre forward. But it's all pending that we have this, the defenders to make it work from a possession perspective.
Yeah,
the centre forward to be there from presence perspective, and the fullbacks to obviously help from an energy perspective, which I think we have one in Salamakers. But left side, I'm willing to give Estepinian a bit of a go this season, but it's crucial to that.
I just don't get the defense. That's my question about the 3-5-2. I don't. That's my point. If he built more of a defense, if we invested more in the defense, if we clearly had an idea about how we were going to structure the defense, where at the moment we're basically having Tomori playing right back, then fine, I'm all for it. But I don't see, because for me, those sort of formations, you've got to start. The back line is so vital. It's vital in any formation, but really, whereas what I was thinking, a 4-3-3, it's that midfield workhorse. That's more important in a 4-3-3. You've got to have mobile, up and down midfielders that are running a lot, which we got Ricci, we got Jashari for those reasons. So I personally am a bit annoyed that that's the route we've gone down, especially when you factor in what we'll talk in a moment after the game previews is the market. Like, what the hell's happening with that? So,
but quickly, just on a potential 4-3, and this is why I'm going to sort of poo-poo the idea, because I'm just play this out with me. Yeah, you play 2 centre backs. Yeah, and you go on the right, you have a play. And if you want to throw De Winter on the right, then fair be. Yeah, fair enough. You want a bit more defensive coverage, you put Estepini on the left. And if you want to slot Pulisic in on the right, which, defensive coverage just ain't going to come from there. And obviously you got what you know about Leao. The midfield three, we're all going to still scream out that we want to see Jashari, Richie, and Modric. Modric hasn't got the legs for that, man.
True.
And I think the three need to be so. And that's why when we played Real Madrid last year and we beat them away from home, we were able to index into the lack of work rate from the attacking line and the midfield to create spaces in the defense. And I honestly think, and that's why we've gone down this route with an extra man in defense to cover for that and go, you know what, we'll get the talent up front and that will kind of win us games, a la Modric and Leao. But you need the players in those defensive positions to kind of be able to manage games in that regard. I do think we're closer on the way this squad is right now. And it makes more sense to stick with the 3-5-2 than it is.
I think it does now, because you've made his bed and he's sleeping.
We made it this point,
But my point would then be, why couldn't we then invested properly in the fullbacks that would allow us to have the support for the 4-3-3? So, you could go either way, right? But look, I agree with you now at this stage, game week 1, we're not going to swap. It's just a shame because I don't think we've executed either formation idea very well. Whether it is the 4-3-3 or the 3-5-2, we've done neither in the way that really allows.
Yeah.
But yes. Anyway, before we move on, we've got to do tops and flops for this match.
Let's cover the second goal. Let's cover the second goal. We won't talk too much about the second half. Not a lot happened. I'm not gonna lie. What a goal!
Oh yeah.
The bicycle kick from
his name is Bonazzoli. Yeah,
Ex-Inter, but
Federico. But both Federico, but goal scorers, by the way, in case you were interested.
Yeah. I mean, what a goal! But once again, balls played out down the right side. I've got good memories for these things. But Salamaker's, rather than, and you can sit here, kick it out for a throw in. He's gone down up the pitch because he could see Jimenez there, and Jimenez has got a simple job to do: hold the ball. And even if that defender backs into you, just go to the ground, win the foul. It's striker 101 how to play. Simple way, win the ball, get us possession back, get the foul at the minimum. And if you can, and the maximum, you can spin it and get it turned into a counter attack. He gets absolutely muscled off the ball, embarrassingly, obviously by the defender again, the one who scored the goal. Asqueroto. Sorry, the third time I had to help you out. Help me out there. And then he's carried the ball forward. He's done a little cheeky back heel to the crosser, Pezzella, who I ironically saw in Florence Airport in March when he was playing for Empoli earlier on.
Oh, is that who it was?
Yeah.
Pezzella. Okay.
He'll be carving out the assist for what was obviously a well-taken bicycle kick. But and again, Fofana doesn't cover him from a running back perspective.
Oh, Fofana
Jimenez ducking down, not willing to win the header.
Yeah.
Goes back to the first goal. We were thinking that these things would be improved upon. You can't stop everything being chances coming from an attacking perspective for the other side coming your way, but you can at least deal with it from, we've got bodies. We should have bodies in the box to clear that fucking thing. That's the whole point of the back three.
Yep.
But we didn't. And it was a fantastic goal. We had nothing. We couldn't answer with anything. A couple of, odd half chances carved upon. As mentioned, Jimenez has the chance very late on to score a header, open goal. He misses that, and it just kind of sums up the day. No one can hit a fucking barn door. It's embarrassing from a defensive perspective and from an attacking perspective as well. Shit game.
Awful game, but it was an amazing goal. Fair play to all the Cremonese fans that travelled. There was also a lot of coverage in relation to the fact that there were no Curva Sud and there weren't actually that many fans. And when I say fans, I mean there were spectators watching the game, but there were not actual fans. Noisy fans. So all the people from Cremona, they really sung their heart out, and fair play to them. They got to see a historic win. So and not only a historic win and a historic goal. Fair play. And
also fair play to Davide Nicola as well, the coach from Cremonese. He kept Cagliari up last year.
Yep.
He's done the rounds, man, at lower league.
He's good at lower level. He is.
And once again, it goes to show us, and ironically, Pioli, drawing 1-1 away at Cagliari, it's something we've suffered with and continue to suffer with teams with low box. And fair play to him, man. He coached the game really well. And he couldn't ask for more from his side. So you got to give praise where praise is due, in addition to just the shit that we saw from our side.
So, with that being said, who's your top and flop?
Top, I'm putting Salamakers. I thought he was like a wasp on the pitch, buzzing around, winning his possession back where he could, creating where he could. He was crucial in the run up to the first. The equaliser, the first goal.
Yeah,
we scored. The only goal that we scored. So I thought Salamakers, mate, for me.
Yeah, like that. And for me, I think I had to pick Modric. It was Salamakers or Modric. They were the only two good players on the pitch. I think I can pick Modric. 74 minutes he ended up playing. So that's the majority of the match. Again, calm, composed. But yeah, I think the two we picked are pretty much the only two options for the game, I would say. I don't think you can pick a top outside of those two players.
Yeah, agreed.
Flop.
You can pick a lot of these. You can pick a lot of these, mate.
We've got 9 players to pick from. Well, 8 maybe. Mania maybe gets a pass, but
this is difficult, man.
It's hard. It's hard.
It's harder.
Yeah. We'll be talking about old Conrad soon enough.
He'll be rejecting us anyway. So for flops, Christ, I'm gonna go for Fana, man.
That's who
I'm someone pull up how many shots this guy had. And I think it's at least 4 out of our four, I think 4, maybe 5. He had 1 on target, I remember, which was a smothered shot. But this guy, like, obviously you saw him last year. He can't put his foot through the fucking ball.
3. He had 4.
Okay, I was bang on. There you go. But
1 blocks, 2 off target, 1 on target.
One of them, bloody hell.
Yeah.
Kid in the cord for sword. It's just, and once again, he shouldn't be in a position where we're having to run the offense where he gets so many shots. Like, yeah, fair enough. But like, Geezer, you're a professional footballer and you can't hit the fucking target.
Bari, and now this. Like, Jesus Christ, this guy shoots non-stop. It's just non-stop.
Awful, man. And that's the difference of winning and losing the game. I'm sorry. Like, we could sit here and go, Pavlovic was shit in possession. He scored the equaliser. Fair enough. Fair play to him. Estupinian then a good game. Got the assist with the equaliser. Fair play to him. And then obviously the attack, Loftus-Cheek. Those are the players that come to. But like for Fana, man, for what came his way.
Yeah, Fofana would have been my choice, but
if Saudi is still on fucking speed dial, man, sell that guy now.
He's not great, is he? He's not looking good this season. He would have been my pick as well, because I actually think individually he had the worst, especially when you factor in he had the lion's share of the ball as well, a lot of the match. But I have to pick Jimenez. I thought it was one of the weakest centre-forward performances I've seen. Again, for a guy, he's not physically in terms of muscle the biggest, but he isn't a small guy. He's a big frame. He's like 6'2". He ain't small. It was pathetic. It was absolutely pathetic. The second goal with the hold up is, like you mentioned earlier, is unforgivable. You're a professional footballer. As a centre forward, you're a big guy. What are you doing? He literally pinged off Bashkirot. It was like boing, boing. What are you doing?
He should have saw this game as a great chance, despite
it was his chance, man.
Yeah. And in addition to this, he had Bari as well. Like, he had a good chance here to get on a score.
These are bad teams in the league. Yes, they're difficult to play against, but they're bad teams. They are actually bad teams. Okay, so
and he ends the game, in a worse. And a bit of me looks at him and go, I really hate to think he's a confidence player, but he looks like a confidence player.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
because there's no way you're banging that many goals, Eredivisie or not, like, and being in that veil of confidence, and then. And that's the difference. I do think confidence allows you to approach that game and go, I'm going to give you as good as I've got from, the centre back, just bullying the shit out of him, and even taking those chances. He's just like ground
confidence zero. Like you said, confidence to play the foul, anything like that. Enough to be like, no, I've got this situation. Whether he plays the ball or not, just to manage the situation as a centre forward.
Back to basics. Yeah.
Jesus, well, enough of that game. Awful. Awful. Right, moving on to next week's match. I think we're playing this on Saturday.
Friday.
Friday. Friday night.
Which I think is a good thing. I think it's a good
I
thing
agree.
because
I agree.
I'm
We want to
like,
get stuck in straight away. We need to move on.
yeah,
And get
I
playing.
want to get that fucking game out of my head. And this could be a lot worse. Don't get me wrong, but like, I just need something to shout at.
So, Friday,
yeah.
7:45 here in the UK, or 8:45 local time in Puglia. Yeah. Wow. I mean, let's be honest. This is Kamada hat trick, isn't it?
I mean, ironically, we pay Lecce for every goal that he scores.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually, I mean,
you can't
we're going to
write
talk
it,
about
man.
the
You can't
Conrad
write it.
shit.
A bit. I really hope he gets the goal. I really hope he gets a
Me
goal
too.
against
Me
us.
too. I do as well, in a way.
Fuck it. Like, you know, I
But we
want
need to, but let's not get into it. Whether he scores or not, we
we need to win.
have to win this game.
We have to win this game.
Like, we have to win this game. So just to give a bit of background before we jump in, Lecce's first game was against Genoa away. So they were in the north of Italy. Kamada played. He started. I think he played a fair bit. I think he played about 80 minutes of the match. So he quite well. It was a 0-0 result. I think Genoa are slightly better, but as to be expected at home. But both of these teams are what I would say are bottom half teams. So not a massively exciting match. Lecce had more corners. I think they did more with the ball. Otherwise, not a huge amount to go on. Like I said, it's a 0-0. There's not a huge amount that, and I don't think either of us watched this game, so not a huge amount. But they play a 4-3-3 Lecce. They gave us a bit of trouble last year. They stayed up. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we should once again go into a game where we are favourites for it. They haven't got a lot of names. Obviously, Kamada is a good story there in itself, but I like to think we might do well against the 4-3-3 because it goes away from a bit of a low block, where there should hopefully be a bit more space between the lines. We have to win it. Simple as, and I really hope we win it and we win it convincingly as well. We should not be in a position where 2-1's good enough and we take the win and we move. Like, nah, this needs to be convincing in my opinion. Regardless of what we're going into it, who we're going into it with. Liao, I probably shouldn't be. I don't think he's going to make the game either for it. But there's a lot of players that, as we mentioned, have come away from that Cremonese game that I either need to fucking put up or get the fuck out because this is it can't be that bad again.
Question then, because obviously I don't think Lecce's 11 is going to change much.
I'll start at 11, yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a look at it now. They got Banda, Ramadani, Koulibaly midfield, Moriente on the right wing, Kamada up front, Gallo, who I actually think is a decent little left back, Falcone, who's a very good goalkeeper in Serie A as well. What formation you expect? Not formation, sorry. What 11 are you expecting? What's the 11 from Milan perspective, obviously?
Question is in the backline, does De Winter get a start?
Yeah, I think he should.
I think he does, and he should.
Yeah.
Question is for who? So I think Gabbia's locked in. Obviously, Mike and goal. It's either going to be Tomori or Pavlovic missing out.
I'd like to see Pavlovic miss out, even though he scored. I'd like to see him.
Agreed. I think throw Tomori at left. I mean, at this point, it's like he used to play left centre back anyway. At this point, the passing couldn't get any more worse than Pavlovic. The ball carrying could not get any worse than Pavlovic. And at least it's energy and at least it's a bit of pace. And I'd throw De Winter right centre back. So I go Tomori, De Winter, obviously flanked around Gabbia. In the midfield, so Estepinian obviously on the left, Salamakers on the right, the wing back positions. In the midfield, I would go. I think what's going to happen. I think Loftus-Cheek's going to get the nod as a starting spot as the more advanced attacking centre mid option.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he plays Ricci and Modric. Ricci being the deeper midfielder. Jashari in the bench, sadly. Don't get me wrong, I would love to see all three of them start, but I just don't see Allegri doing it. I think he's going to keep one of Fofana or Loftus-Cheek on. And then up front, it's going to be it's going to have to be Santiago Jimenez and Pulisic again.
Which isn't that mental? Like let's just think before I give you my 11, which I'm going to slightly change. That's mad, isn't it?
The fact that we're 2 weeks away from the game that Leao got injured in, just under 2 weeks from when he got injured in that game, knowing that we still need a centre forward and then Leao gets injured and Okafor gets sold, it's shambles. It's absolute shambles, and we probably will. I would love to. I fucking hope if we do not get a centre forward signed by Friday, I said to you guys in the chat, by Tuesday, this player needs to be in. And we're recording this video on the Monday right now. So that ain't happening. So Tuesday is not even here yet. If there's no player in and training with the squad by Thursday, God help us this season. God help us. Like, we might have enough to get through that game. And yeah, so be it. We go into the international break after this, I think.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Let me have a look. I'm thinking you're right, actually.
But we are playing with so much fire by doing this.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, that's right.
We do anyway. But we're playing with so much fire by doing this. It's ridiculous. Because look, I think Chukwueze is out as well. So there's less depth completely. It shambles that we're having to approach this game like this. Shambles.
Yeah.
Do you disagree with any of those?
I think I'd be very shocked if Allegri starts for Fofana.
I was going for Loftus-Cheek, sorry. So,
right, okay. Loftus-Cheek, Modric,
Modric on the left, Loftus-Cheek on the right, and then Ricci in the middle.
Yeah, okay. Well, then we're agreed. I just didn't think I can't see Fofana starting again. I really would be. I'd be very annoyed from an Allegri perspective. That's like a Fonseca. That's a Conceição type level of activity. Not Allegri. Yeah, I expect Allegri to be like, no, you're not playing well at the moment. Bench him and bring in Ricci, especially with how he played in pre-season. But otherwise, I can't really disagree with your 11 because there's no other fucking options we have. Who else are we going to play at right wing back? No other option.
It's only if you disagree with the midfield, if you think Cheshire is going to start or Fofana is going to start. The rest of it picks itself, sadly.
Yeah, which is it's mind blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
In addition to, because that's even in addition to what we know as we record this, Chukwueze looking like he could go to Fulham. Moose is looking like he's going to go to Atalanta, and Alex Jimenez is looking like he's going to go to Como, and it's
none of them are starters, fine, but what does that leave us with? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? What does it leave us with?
And this is the theme of the market. We've sold well, don't get me wrong, but you sell and you have an intention. The players are going to buy immediately, and you bring them in straight away. And we've done that in a slight extent. De Winter came in pretty swiftly after Malik Chow. But the rest of it has been so slow. It's been so slow. It's ridiculous.
So, closing obviously the preview off. What's your predictions? What's your predictions for the match?
I've got to say we got to win because I can't think of it. I can't think of how I can get through this week with any other thought of us not winning. This might be my last.
This might be the last time you ever see Steph again. There's a couple of big bridges near where you live, I hear.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to joke about that. But it's we have to win. But I think it's not going to be convincing. Although it needs to be convincing. I think we're going to win 2-1.
Goal scorers? Do you want to put a goal scorer down?
Fucking hell. I think Jimenez gets a goal. Gosh. I hope Jimenez gets a goal. And Loftus-Cheek.
Wow.
This is how bad it is.
Wow.
And if this comes in as a bet,
Jesus,
no one's going to bet on that anyway. But if that comes, I'm curious to see what the odds are on that. 2-1 and Santi Jimenez and Loftus-Cheek to score. Let me look that up whilst you give me yours.
Right. So yeah, my prediction is in my head saying we've got to win this and we've got to win it quite well. But I'm going to be really negative and I'm going to predict a draw. And I'm going to say, I don't even know why I'm saying 2-2, but I just think it would be. I'm at this point. It's like welcome the chaos. I've just seen who they've got. They've got Ricardo Sotil as well on their bench at Lecce, who obviously came on loan. I would not be surprised if he assists a goal. Kamada's nailed on to score against us. I don't care what you say. So that's there. And from a goal scoring perspective, from Milan, I also think, again, after that first game, anyone I say, you're going to be like, really? I think Pulisic, I've got to do my best AJ impression and suck Pulisic's cock and think, yeah, he's going to score 18 goals and win the Ballon d'Or tomorrow. But no, in all, yeah, I think Pulisic, and I think Modric will get his first. There you go. But I think a draw. I don't know. I'm trying to desensitize myself, to be honest, Steph.
Yeah, I'm going through with this bet quickly.
1 point in 6. 1 point in 6. That's what we're going to have, boys. 1 point in 6. We'd love to know what you guys think. Obviously, you get your predictions in when you're listening to this. But while Steph's doing his bet and getting the odds up, we're going to do we'll do obviously listener questions at the end, but we're going to do just sort of like a bit of a Mercato update because there's so much to talk about in the week since we've played or before we played Cremonese and after. We've discussed a little bit about this in the pub chat. I'm sure it'll be spoken about in the bonus pod as well, whatever the guys end up doing for that. But yeah, Boniface, my God, we've got to discuss it here on the main pod. He thought it was coming. We were all quite happy. We knew about the risks, both from a fan and obviously the club knew about the risks. But we were pretty excited about this name. It's an exciting player. Has injury problems, but when he's been fit, he's been quite electric. He's got a very good goal scoring record. One of the main men, at Leverkusen, and it all went really quickly. We had interest with him back in June. Everyone was quite excited at the prospect. It all went quiet. We didn't hear anything of it, and then all of a sudden, in about 2 days, Tare agreed, deal confirmed. The man's coming over to do his medical, and then what happens? Well, we start hearing coverage from Gazzetta, don't we? We start hearing Corriere dello Sport say things like, oh, yeah, he's a stopgap, first of all, that they were very negative about it. And then they were hearing filtering about he's failed his medical. They've got real concerns about his knee. His injury's a lot worse than first thought. And we were just thought like, nah, they're just trying to, classic Inter-owned Gazzetta, classic kind of anti-Milan media. We were just thinking, yeah, whatever. They're just trying to, make this a bigger issue than it actually is. Lo and behold, we start getting Matteo Moretto report it. We start getting, Vitiello reporting it, and all the tier one sources saying, no, we're going to have more checks on Boniface. Tare himself at the Cremonese game. Oh no, it's all fine. He's going to have more medical checks. And then what happens, Steph? What happens?
Well, he flies back to fucking Germany and it all falls through. Yeah, it's just.
Oh, I actually forgot to mention as well one thing that was quite funny. We had Fabrizio Romano tweet and post on Instagram in Nigerian Pidgin, which is like their patois, like English. It's like their language of like, because obviously there's a huge, I think their first language is English in Nigeria, but they have their own sort of form of it called Pidgin. And it's very hard to decipher unless you know what it says. And Fabrizio basically put a comment underneath that post, basically saying that he was calling everyone involved clowns. Turns out that wasn't what it is. Boniface messaged Fabrizio directly to say this is not what it was about. It's actually that he didn't want the media saying that he was a lazy player and this and that. And if he was a serious player, why would the likes of Milan and Leverkusen be interested in him? But what a soap opera. What a soap opera this has been, mate.
It's only us, man. I don't see another club that goes through this crap because it's embarrassing. To have so much hope midweek.
We were quite excited. Yes, we knew the risk. He's a good player. He's a good player.
Yeah, we all knew the biggest thing that was getting called out was the injury issues, and we all knew this. But there's talent there, and obviously goal scoring ability across the years. And for it to also end before and after, like in and around those 24, 48 hours of the Cremonese game, loss even, it's such deflating. Like it wasn't like, okay, we lost the game, but we got Boniface coming in and we're going to sort out this scoring. We're still here as we film this video today with no knowledge of who's coming in the forward line piece. And it's just another saga, another story in this market where we were told a striker was coming in, and it's just been pie after pie after pie. Vlahovic, who knows? Højlund. Like the whole idea was going for Boniface was like, all right, you know what, Højlund, you fucked us around too much, and now Napoli are close and are probably going to get him as well as a backup to Lukaku going out for obviously a lengthy injury.
And he'll do very well there. It's written.
Yeah, because it's set up for him to do well there. And we're left with nothing. We're left with absolute nothing. So the Boniface saga in itself is obviously comical, but it's a compilation of sagas this summer in that position where it's inexcusable how poor it's been managed. And it's just, why is it always fucking us that has to go through this crap? Like it's a mockery to the fan base. It's an absolute mockery to the fan base. And I want to believe in Tade. I really want to believe in everything that he's doing. But it was the first time I was like, this is a waste of effort. It's a waste of time, because to fly him out, to do the medical checks, to essentially say no to Højlund, to freeze what you're doing with Conrad Harder as well, because obviously, you're like, all right, we're going to go for Boniface. And not saying those other two options are the options that we should be going for, but we basically, in the event of going down the path of Boniface, have lost out on two more other targets potentially, because Harder's probably been put off by us. I don't know if he's going to sign for us or not, but surely he's been put off by the fact that we didn't think he was the first choice, nor should I believe he should be the first choice. But even to get someone in, and then obviously Højlund is going to Napoli because he's like, the communication has died down there. So it's an addition, not just Boniface. It's two other signings, and if not, also the time wasted to get someone else that we've not even thought about through those doors. Shocking.
It's really embarrassing. It's genuinely embarrassing. I mean, we've said that before. We look at how we finished last season, embarrassing, but as public as it was in terms of how Boniface was dealt with personally, but how we've come out, the optics of our club, it is so bad. I mean, we look like a bunch of amateurs. And we have, you'd like to think, like you said, we've got Sarri in now. Yeah, you'd like to think he's good at what he does. They can mitigate this. They can kind of have a level, before all the criticism to the management, upper management. But no, it's the same. It's the same issues.
I don't know. There is so much confusion about this whole Boniface thing, because why fly him out if you know he's got the issues? Firstly, was it done because we knew that was going to be the case, and then we were going to haggle over the fee that we'd have to pay for up front? That sounds like a typical Forlani sort of move. And the fact that we flew him back, and then whoever runs fucking Leverkusen's operations out there basically was like, no renegotiations, because the fact he's coming back here means that he's staying here. So is our attempt to haggle been squashed? And by doing so, we, that was our approach the whole time. And if that was the case, then that's embarrassing. That would have been the idea. It's just, there's so much to it. Who pulled the plug on it? Was Tade quite keen on it still, despite? I think there's a lot we don't know about this deal, because there's a lot of, it's like last year, there's a lot of people involved in the decision to sign a player, which is the issue with this market. There's still a lack of alignment between, Tade and Allegri versus Forlani and Moncada.
I mean, the Boniface
thing, it's tiring. It's fucking tiring.
It is tiring. I think a lot of people, and I know I've used this word a few times over the last, it's quite sad actually. I've used this word over the last couple of years, but it's pure apathy at this point, because I'm just personally, on a personal level, becoming less and less invested and feel less and less bothered about the inner workings of the club. There are bigger conversations that go around about the state of European football and where we are in it, and what's going on with the goal for the Premier League and things like that. They're more depressing. But even in just our league, which we do have control over, where we should be fighting, we should be competitive, I'm becoming more apathetic to that. Forgetting Europe, forget that. Forgetting that I would love us to win number 8, which seems more impossible than us. I don't know. God knows what else. I can't even think. But I'm becoming apathetic to just our league. Like top 4, I'm looking at our team. I'm thinking top 4 is going to be a real struggle. It's going to be a real struggle. And then not to mention, what we've mentioned before on the pub chat, but we'll speak about it here. If we end up getting Vlahovic, which would have been my pick, not because, again, I think he's unbelievable, but it just made sense. Allegri wanted him. He's a want away from a rival. Yes, he'd be expensive, but he's young enough to still have resale value. He I think, ticks a lot of boxes, right? That's all I'm saying. If we end up getting him, which I don't think is going to happen now, but if we do, then why have we wasted 2 months? Then you look at Conrad Harder, who, like you were just telling me, he's looking like he's going to reject us anyway. But if he didn't and he comes, or if he just comes anyway, why didn't we keep Kamada? There's no way that a 20-year-old from the Portuguese league is more ready than that. So it's just every which way we look at how we dealt with Boniface, who we've brought in, the 3-5-2 versus 4-3-3, the fact we sold Chow, who'd be perfect for the 3-5-2. None of it makes sense. None of it makes sense.
Yeah, because at the very minimum, you can salvage it by getting what the fans are asking for, which is immediate quality.
Yeah.
It comes to the fact, why has it got to the point where we were a season and we lost the first game? None of it none of it screams initiative or being proactive. It's the same old story of being reactive, and what they think is best isn't right, and a lot of damage is being done along the way. We've seen it to Teo, we've seen it to Mike. God forbid if players like Leao this season tap out. And the sad thing about it is what could have been a great story for Luka Modric coming in could go completely to pot. This had all the makings to be a season where, and can still, bear in mind, can still have the makings to be a season where we get back into Europe and we could be successful in some degree. But you need to start strong with the market, and it's not strong at all. There's no which way about it, and I a bit of me kind of like I'm tired. I don't want to go through fire and basically like see the fans having to not be there for the club and creating tifos that are just completely in protest. But it's going to have to get to that point again where it's going to be like rock bottom, and it's tiring to kind of have to build up confidence in that degree as well. And it's and the more I look at people like Fellaini and Jerry and Moncada, just infuriating presences around the club.
They really are
disgusting. Like what they think. I've got no love for them, and luckily there are still some little eggs of things that can bring confidence, whether it's Allegri and potentially his coaching and Tare and the way that he sold players really well, and he probably is protesting for the right players to come in, and Modric and his leadership, and Leao and his creative ability, and Mike potentially renewing. There are some little nuggets of confidence, but all it takes is one or two or three of them to go. They're being outweighed by shit.
Yes, massively. They're being outweighed by confusion and
they're nuggets in a field of manure. That's what they are.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
And the nuggets aren't even big nuggets either.
No.
They're quite small nuggets. Do you know what I mean? So why filter through that shit to start off with? But
shit nuggets. No.
Oh Jesus, yeah. God, it's actually so depressing. But I think a lot. Do you know? I want to before we move on to sort of listener questions. I've heard a lot of creators on YouTube, and I'm sure you've heard the same thing. Shout out to everyone else, obviously making content about our shit club at the moment. But generally, I think it's the sentiment I want to get at is that it feels to be that this is the start of game week 39, game week 40 of last season. There hasn't been that closing off, that sort of like, moving on with the ex-girlfriend, getting to a new relationship. That hasn't happened. It's like you're still texting, you're still being a bit toxic.
Crying in the bedroom.
Do you know what I mean?
It
it hasn't happened. That delineation hasn't occurred.
Yeah.
And that's all we really wanted as fans, really, right?
Yeah.
We wanted Tare's in, Allegri's in, let's just draw a line. That Conceição Fonseca mess is over. But it clearly isn't to a level because what is going on with the market? What is going on? So
there needs to be some big bangs this week. Like, no excuses. If there's not, you'll hear about it.
I'd like to think so.
Because like even sports. Like obviously he followed Twitter and stuff. The people close to the club who do the news updates, they're even seeing it. They're saying it openly as well. It's not like blind optimism and just reporting on stuff. It's like people are just so confused with the movements of incoming players, this market, and what they're trying to do, and clearly out and stating the favoritism that Fellaini and Moncada have with certain agents, and perhaps that Tare and Allegri are being ignored.
If that happens, this is very hyperbolic, but why not? We've got a few minutes. Let's think about it. Do you think it goes so far as those sort of like really heavy protests? Because and I only say that I think something big has to happen negatively, like Tare or Allegri leaves, right? One of those leaves this early on.
Yeah.
There has to be outrage, surely.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Confidence is like I said, only connected to those nuggets that I've mentioned.
Yeah.
And it's only so much before that weighs down on players as well, and those members there. Like we mentioned, like Modric in that Cremonese game, you can see those bits of kind of like creative influence that he was starting to have. all of a sudden, if he's surrounded by shit still when he's playing with Loftus-Cheek and Fofana, there's only so much you can keep be willing to do before it turns into like, I was get paid for this last year and I'm going to retire. And this hasn't been what I thought it would be, which is a real shame. And the same for coaching, and it's the same for, and there's only Tade can only do his job in the market windows. So, tough.
Oh, not good. Not good at all. Right. Let's go for some listener questions, Steph. There's a couple on the Discord here that I want to go through. So, guys, thank you if you have any questions in on the Discord. As always, for those who don't know, you can try. I think you can get it through Substack, which you can try a week for free, and you can drop your questions in there. But we've got one from Carolista saying, if the Mercato ended today, so the day of recording the pod, so it's Monday, the 25th of August, which team has the best midfield according to us? So, Steph, which team has the best midfield?
If we play them, it should be us. No. We should be up there, certainly. I think Napoli still, though. I think Napoli.
Yeah, I agree.
De Bruyne, both on the score sheet, I believe, the other day. Anguissa, Loborca, those are four players that, I would say are better than, our starting four midfielders. I think we're up there, though. I think we're up there. If we're deployed in the right way, yeah, we should be. Sure.
Yeah, I think Napoli. I don't think it's close. They've got, they kept hold of their most important player in Scott McTominay, whereas we sold ours, and they've just added De Bruyne to that. So I can't really look past Napoli, and Anguissa as well. So yeah, no, I think it's Napoli quite close. Dario Del Maestro asks, what's your genuine thoughts on signing Vlahovic? I'm personally so undecided on whether or not he'd be the right guy, but after last night, I can't imagine him doing any worse than Santi did against Bashkirotto, which we've spoken about. But thoughts specifically on Vlahovic, Steph?
Yeah, like we mentioned it on the pub chat. He'd come in with a coach he knows how to play against. Whether you like him or not as an individual, how he plays, which I'm not the biggest fan of him. And I'm not a big fan of signing lots of left-footed centre forwards because I think we just, I believe in sort of how players work dynamically. I think he comes in and, gives us immediately what Allegri wants and what we need to potentially succeed. So, project above kind of my opinions of the player. That's what I've kind of going down that route this season. How do they fit into the side? How do they fit into the coaching's objectives? And I think this makes a lot of sense. And at this point right now, we are fucking desperate.
We're desperate, which is so bad. We're so
he
weak.
Seems like the next coming light of, he'd be approaching the club like us trying to sign Erling Haaland right now. Yeah. You're a fan, aren't you? Though.
Yeah. I'd like Vlahovic. I'm not a massive fan of him. I just think about Allegri, who we've got. I'm a big believer in coaches have a coach especially like Allegri, who's been around in the league, but generally he's enabled the building of strong relationships. And you see it all over Europe. You see specific managers bringing specific players with them to different clubs. And they're not always a success, but there's reasons for that. And if you look at what we needed and what Juve wanted to get rid of, I just thought, again, if you look at AC opportunity, I thought that was the perfect opportunity for the club. So that's why I've been a fan of Vlahovic. I don't think he's going to be our next Shevchenko. I don't think that at all. But if I look at what makes sense, it just made sense. So why didn't we do it? I don't bloody well know. So
I also wonder if there's a few other names that we haven't mentioned here at the striker spot, and if this Conrad Harder deal doesn't go through, that's 30 mil there on the. There's a lot of money still should be in our pockets here to spend. What about Moise Kean?
Yeah, well, we should have.
We ain't going to do it because we're not going to spend anywhere near.
And the Fiorentina won't sell him. Not now. No way.
But rocking up for Moise Kean Lookman wouldn't be the answer either, to be fair. But I don't know. A bit of me hopes that there's something there of Kean. But even I look at him, I go, is that what we need right now, Moise Kean? Do we need more of a natural number 9? I'm desperate, mate. Give me anything.
Yeah, we are. It's pathetic. And the last one for this week from Ludes asks, will the Cremonese game make Allegri rethink using Modric as a regista. Great to see him on the ball so often, but the back line needed more protection from a player sitting in front of them, and Modric is so good in the tight spaces further forward.
Yes, and yes. Like, yeah.
I agree.
And it's not because of, like, it's a compilation of reasons why. Yes, Modric doesn't have the legs for it. It was good to see him on the ball, as you said. He was a good reference point. In that first half, they were just, connecting with him really well. But yeah, to your point, like, let's conserve his energy where it could be used in accordance to helping out the attack, and that comes also by taking out players like Fofana and Loftus-Cheek out of those positions who don't contribute. So you get players of quality into the team that should have been starting, a la Richie and Jashari, and you take players out who don't belong in a starting 11, Fofana and Loftus-Cheek, and you still keep Modric there in a more advanced role. So yeah, I think if that's not what's going to happen, then Allegri needs his fucking head checked, man.
Yeah,
get Richie in, get that energy in, and combine that with Modric. Can combine that with Modric linking up with with the likes of Pulisic and other players, and Pulisic doesn't have to drop off so much and get him closer to the centre forward. So
yeah, I don't disagree. Also, we've seen how Modric played. He can play anywhere in the midfield, but I think he's still so quality on the ball. His delivery and his control in tight spaces, like Lud's saying, and we're discussing, is spot on. But
nearly scored as well. Like, I firmly believe if some of those chances that landed to Fofana the other day landed to Modric,
he would have scored.
He gets a goal.
100%.
He gets a goal. He nearly scored himself with a really good long distance shot.
Yeah.
But
yeah. With that, I just want to say as well, thank you everyone for listening. I haven't got the list of names for the Substack founding members, which I know Ollie does at the start. So just wanted to shout out. I forgot to do that at the beginning. I don't have the names, but just to say shout out to you guys. I know that's done every week, so thank you. And for those who don't know what Substack is, you can obviously check a week for free, but there's lots of content. You've got the pub chat that we just recorded, which we do a little bit of a deep dive specifically on the market, looking at centre back and striker as the biggest issues. They are glaring. It's incredibly glaring. I don't know what the bonus pod is, but there's been loads of fantastic articles that the guys have been working on, Isaac's been doing, and everyone else. So check that out. But otherwise, hopefully we've got a win for the boys to recap next week, and we've got some more positivity to talk about ourselves. But I mean, if you've got any other closing thoughts, mate?
No, all good. No, good to be on the pod again. It's been a while since either of us have been on one. And yeah, I guess like anyone we've missed from the Substack, I mean, there's always love there if you're part of the community. So
well said. Yeah,
obviously, it's going to be an interesting week. We mentioned this on the pub chat. Keep your thoughts here, whether they be optimistic or negative. There's no right or wrong answer right now. We are in a hell of a state of the club right now. So there's gonna be a lot of opinions circulating. So just no one's wrong. So
interesting time to be a fan, just not for the right reasons.
Yeah, we might get some joy this week because I think Moose is being sold very imminently to Atalanta. So maybe me and Lorenzo do a compilation of all our.
We might edit like every time we've effed and blinded his name, and then he's going to score and become an absolute world beater. I would say on the Gasperini, but it's Juric, so maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe not. But anyway, always a pleasure to be on the pod. But
it's nice to be back.
Cool. All right, we'll end there, man.
Speak to you guys very soon. Yeah.
See you guys
Thanks
soon.
for listening. Cheers.